What's up, guys? I'm super excited to be on the live tonight. Honestly, first time I'm doing something like this. I'm gonna wait on some of you guys to jump on and see. I can't tell. Waiting on some people to jump on before I start. Okay, yeah. There's a couple of people on. Hey, guys. Hey, Morgan. Morgan, are you at home from school? I don't know. I haven't saw you post anything, so I didn't know. Hey, Alan. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So tonight is kind of just low-key. I'm kind of sharing something that I've thought about sharing for a long time. But, hey, Melanie, I miss you too. I really hope that we can see each other soon. This needs to hurry up and be over. Hey, Sarah. Hey, Sarah, I just talked to you on the phone. That's cool. But I've been thinking about sharing this for a really, really long time. It's something that's been on my heart, and so I've thought about sharing. So this was kind of like the perfect opportunity. I told Derek that I wanted to do the live tonight. So just telling you a little bit of a backstory, and then just like a really simple concept of something that I have learned in my life, and that I also think can be really, really helpful right now with COVID-19 going on. So just to kind of start off, give you a little bit of backstory. I graduated college in 2017. And where all my college students at, I know you guys are listening. So I was in the middle of my college career, and I was in a really rough part of my life. I was struggling with a couple of different things, trying to figure out what career path I wanted to take, and stuff like that. I had a couple of family situations going on, had a friend situation going on. It was just a really, really a lot. And it was just a really, really hard time. I felt like I really just had hit rock bottom, and it was really, really difficult because here I was in ministry school, and I was just really having a hard time with a lot of different things. But in the middle of my college career, a friend of mine, a friend, a mentor, just a very awesome person, Miss Angie Patrick, recommended a book to me. And I was in college, I was reading all of these textbooks, and I was like, I don't want to read another book, so I just ignored it, pushed it off. Well, I graduated college, and I was going home. I was taking a couple of days off from work. I was going home to my parents' house in Walker County. I know all the Walker County jokes. You can drop those in the comments if you want to. I know Cullman's way better. I know, but I was going home to my parents' house. I think it was a total of a week and a half, and so I'm not the type of person to sit around and do absolutely nothing. So I wanted to do something, and I had gotten I don't know, idea that I wanted to read a book, and the book that had been recommended to me by Miss Angie Patrick had came back to my mind, and I was like, okay, I'll read this book. She told me I could borrow her copy any time, so I borrowed her copy. A couple of days went by into my vacation, and I picked up the book, and I started reading it, and honestly it was one of those books I couldn't put down. I finished the book in 3 to 4 days, which is very unusual for me because I am the type of person, I don't necessarily like to read. I would rather listen to the book on tape or audiobook, whatever, or better yet, watch the movie. All the action movies, I'd rather just watch the movie than read the book. That's just how I am. But I was reading this book, and I finished it in 3 to 4 days. And honestly, I put the book down and was like, this has just changed my life. It was not a Jesus leadership book at all. It was it was just a book that told the story of someone who honestly, they had built their business empire, and so, but the way they got there. And so the one thing that stuck out to me about that entire book, the part that I liked about the book so much, was that one thing that she had to always do was she always had to keep a positive mindset. And so it's kind of why it's been on my heart for a little while now, is because we all in this time, we have to keep a positive mindset. I know that it can be really easy to be negative about the situation that's going on right now in America and all over the world, and it's really easy to get a negative mindset with maybe the deaths that you see going on throughout the world. But I think it is super, super important that we keep a positive mindset with everything. And so that's kind of like what I've been talking about, what I've been reading about in my devotionals, just how to keep that positive mindset, because it can be super, super easy. I know I've caught myself getting very negative about the situation. I would get very negative because I couldn't hang out with my friends, or I couldn't go eat at my favorite restaurant. Honestly, my birthday was a couple of weeks ago, and I was really, really upset that I couldn't go to my favorite restaurant to like sit down and eat. But I got over that. I just keeping a positive mindset. But in the book, I actually have a couple of notes because I want to make sure that I get this correctly, that I tell you correctly. So it's a mom, and she has several kids, and so she kind of came to this realization about halfway through building their career. And so she talks about how she was standing in her house looking at she had a white couch. She was looking at it. She had just cleaned up her house. It was all super, super clean. She sat down on her couch, and there were black fingerprints all over the couch. And her house was a mess, and she had just finished cleaning it up. And she was so just discouraged about that she wasn't a good mom, and that she just couldn't see past. She was cleaning all the time, and she just wasn't necessarily in a positive mindset, is what she come to realize. And so she kind of stopped in the middle of cleaning her house up for the 14th time that day. And she said she heard her kids laughing down the hallway. And it was in that moment that she realized that it didn't really matter what her house was like, if it was clean, if it was dirty, but she was with her kids and enjoying her kids. And so she made she kind of talks about how she would get really, really frustrated when her kids would spill a glass of milk on the kitchen counter. And so after this realization of just, after being so discouraged, and just the realization that she had come to, that she needed to have a more positive mindset, she realized that it wasn't about the spilt milk all over the counter. It was more about her relationship with who spilled the milk on the counter. And I know you might be thinking, I don't have kids, this doesn't apply to me. I think it actually does, because I think that sometimes we get so focused on a situation that we're worried about the person that done this to us, that we forget about our relationship with that person. And so I also think that we get so focused on the situations all around us that we forget to build relationships in the middle of the situations, I guess. It was kind of like me. I was so focused on my situation that I didn't see other people that were going through, honestly, a similar thing that I was at that point in time. And I feel like if we would have known, if I would have opened up about it, I think I probably would have, it probably would have had a different outcome, because we would have been able to lean on each other. And I also think that, I also realized in that moment that this is where I'm going. I'm not trying to be, this is kind of just a low-key devotion. This is just me sharing my heart. But when I thought about the analogy of how, her thoughts on the spilt milk analogy, I thought about, sometimes we think that God is so focused on the mess that we've made of our lives. We can't believe, you think that maybe He doesn't even care about me because of I've done all of this stuff. But the truth is, what I like to think is just like the spilt milk analogy, where she realized that she didn't need to focus on the milk that was spilled all over the counter. she needed to focus on her relationship with the person that spilled the milk. I think that sometimes we have to remember that God is not worried about the mess we've made. He's more worried about the relationship with us. And so I think that's just the one thing to remember. No matter what you've done, no matter what situation you might be in, God still loves you. I know that it was in that moment I finished that book, and I knew I was at rock bottom. It was a really hard time, and I would be happy to talk with you guys more about that later. I don't have a ton more time left, but I just felt like I was at rock bottom, and I left that book thinking, oh my gosh, like, God doesn't care about the mess I've made of my life, about things that I've really messed up on. He really just wants to have a relationship with me. He doesn't care about me spilling milk all over the counter. He just wants to focus on my relationship with him, and me growing closer to him. So that kind of is all what, that kind of like changed my mindset. It's where I always go back to that analogy of like, it doesn't matter what's going on. When I get a negative thought, it doesn't matter what's going on. It matters about what God thinks of me in the situation, and how, and I just have to remain positive about it all. And I know that like right now it is so easy to just get in a negative mindset and not just want to honestly just want to do whatever. Like, I don't want to do, you probably don't want to do school anymore because you're at home, and you just want to be out with your friends and stuff like that. But it is super, super important to keep a positive mindset on what is going on. I know that the president and our officials and our governors are trying super, super hard to keep us safe. And so I know it probably doesn't make sense. We would probably much rather be, some of us might rather be in school right now, and you would rather be hanging out with your friends maybe than at home. But I do think that we can take this time to kind of step back from life for just a second and just realize what is truly important. And number one, that is God. So I super encourage you to make sure that you are spending time with God every day. It doesn't have to be super, super long. It can be super short. Just enough time for you to just be alone with God and hear what he has for you. And then second, I would really, really encourage you to take this time and spend it with your family. I know that some like people don't think their family's that cool. Honestly, I hit that point in my life. I was probably 16 or 17 years old. I didn't want to hang out with my parents. I didn't want to hang out with my younger siblings. But now looking back, after I'm not around them as much, I realized that I wish I would have taken that time. So I really, really encourage you to just take that time to hang out with your parents. I don't even know suggestions for that, but maybe it's like just simple as having dinner with your parents during this time. But the one thing that I really do want you guys to just hear me on tonight is just throughout this whole thing, just make sure you're keeping a positive mindset. I do believe that God knew that all of this was going to happen. He ordained this to happen, not for people to get sick and ultimately some of them die, but I do think this is a time where we can slow down and just focus on what is important in life, and and we don't have all the distractions of school and sports and other extracurricular activities. But do 100% just want to encourage you guys to keep a positive mindset through this time. If you have any other questions that you would like me to answer, or you have a prayer request, or you want some more advice on maybe you're having a hard time keeping a positive mindset and what's going on, feel free to DM the student account. I'm more than happy to pray with you guys, to encourage you guys. I want to be there for you during this time because I know it's really, really difficult. I'm having a hard time myself. I really wanted to go eat at a Mexican restaurant the other day. I had to settle for takeout and take it home. But I just want to be an encouragement to you guys. I want to connect with you guys through this time. I hope that all of you have gotten something out of this tonight. I know that it was kind of longer than I expected it to be. Sorry, I ramble from time to time, but I really am excited about this upcoming week with Live. So before I get off, I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys our new schedule of connection with the student ministry. So tonight we've moved all of our live videos to 7:30. We realized that some of you guys, you have other stuff going on. Honestly, you're supposed to be doing schoolwork during the day. So maybe 7:30 would be an easier time for everyone. So Mondays Mondays will be someone just giving a short devotion, just like open. Tuesdays and Thursdays are a Zoom call, but they are live on Instagram. So if you want to be a part of the Zoom call, you can also DM the student account and we can make that happen. We would love for you guys to be a part of that. Wednesdays, we have our IGTV message coming out. I'm really excited about this week. And then we'll also do a quick recap on Instagram Live. Sorry, I forget the name of it from time to time. And then Friday, I actually was just reminded about this from one of our members of the student team. Is we have Fashion Friday. It's something that we got an idea from a student. I'm telling you, you want to be here this Friday. It's going to be awesome. We're already working on it. It's going to be kind of interesting though, so I'm really excited about that. And then also Saturdays is just going to be a video that airs at 3 o'clock on Saturday. That is just a video with our student team. Actually, I think they've called themselves the Quarantine. I know, kind of corny, but we'll get over that. But they're really excited about it. And then as always, Sunday is church at home, and I encourage every one of you to log on and chat with us at 9 a.m. or 11 a.m. at Church Online and Facebook and YouTube. It is so much fun. If you didn't get a chance to watch the Easter service this past weekend, I really, really encourage you to go back and watch the replay. It was so good. I was super excited. I was actually in the room for the 9 a.m. service, working on some social media stuff. They did one of my new favorite worship songs, Graves to Gardens. It was so, so good. So I so encourage you to go back and watch that video. It was so good. Pastor Jerry's message was awesome. So I love you guys. I will actually see you tomorrow on the Zoom call. So if you would like to be a part of that Zoom call, DM the student account. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. I think that my friend Melanie will be back with me on the Zoom call as well. So I will see you guys then.